It's Thursday, and you know what that means? It means Hot Topics Friday is just around the corner. But before we welcome the weekend and the peace that it brings, as we usher in plans, people are making plans for the weekend. Some will be on the road, some will be shopping, some will be spying, and some will be in bed. Before all of that, though, let's shine the spotlight on a topic that seems to be prevalent among young people today. Drug abuse and addiction. We're looking at the root causes. We're looking at the stigma surrounding addiction, media and cultural roles, as well as the way forward. Today, we're not pointing fingers. Rather, we're taking responsibility. How can society do better for its youngsters? How can we encourage the youth caught up in this cycle of addiction to seek help? Well, we'll be unpacking all of that in a bit. But first...
Indeed, but first, Tolu is back!
You know, I didn't believe it when Judith said, oh, you're not going to see me. I said, no, you are coming here today.
Judith is like a gangster.
I've never seen somebody who does not adhere to doctor's orders like
Tolu. If all of you see how we are pampered and I didn't even call her once so that she will not talk.
Do you understand?
This young lady is already planning candied apple. Cajun, rice, lamb chops, and yama yama
I don't
yama
care what anybody's doing it. I'm
doing it this weekend. She even ate pepper. Somebody that they say abstain, drink pap and be glorious.
No. How can I drink pap for like how I did pap for a day?
Somebody that took.
I hope to God my dentist is not watching.
How many meat teeth in one day? If it's somebody, they are still taking drip in hospital.
Oh, my sister. But no, Tab not great here.
I hope my dentist is not watching. They
your dentist is watching.
It was the dentist office that called me while I was doing makeup. They wanted to check on me. Am I doing okay? Am I doing my salt
I wish you had told us that.
Salt water. Why did you get that you were gargling with pepper soup?
Thank you.
I'm gargling with pepper soup.
I did salt water this morning. I have not eaten, and I've been. I can't stress it enough, guys.
So, what is your plan for the rest of the day in terms of meal-wise? Honest to God and own it.
Can't you just lick yogurt?
Do you understand?
My nanny made one really nice dry panla sauce.
Chotumbo, panla that you have to eat and tear apart.
Do you know, I was eating it yesterday. You see how I was chewing carefully?
No, you see, the thing is, it's not only on one side that you say, okay, you just move the direction.
It's on both sides.
It's on both sides.
I was trying to eat in front.
So how are you still stubborn? Tomorrow you say, medical, whatever does not work, it gets complicated.
No, guy.
It's the Nigerian in you.
It was soft. It was very soft plantain.
So how did you choose?
Plantain that has a lot of sugar. That will go to
I brushed my teeth immediately afterwards.
You brushed the teeth. Did you gargle and stay gargling?
Any day when she comes and she has that grouchy look, all of us will just face her camera.
I'm telling you. I think that's what we'll
No caring, no nothing.
You must care.
You know that thing is really paining me.
You must care. You love me. You love me.
Deal with it.
But small, we're getting there. And I'm so thankful for it. Thank you so much, Judith.
And we missed you, but you know, Judith is a force.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was watching, I was laughing, especially yesterday. She was not in the mood for any of the stories you guys. She was a force, and I love it.
Oh my God.
I absolutely love it.
We really gave her.
Yes.
We loved her. She brightened up the entire space.
Yeah.
And it was just easy to carry on with.
We called her Milky.
Forgetting that there's a script.
Even though it made her blush to heaven.
And then I saw her sit in my chair.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Is it the energy of this chair that was coming for you? But I loved it.
Lolo called her Milky. And she said, what? Wait, and so it stayed. So when we're talking, I said, yeah, Milky, that's true. What you said is true.
You blush.
So she's officially known as
people have
Milky.
decorum at all.
No, but her skin is really good.
Yes, it is. Yes,
and she eats a lot of chia seeds and yogurt, things
oh, no,
eating.
Hello, excuse me. Chia seeds and fennel and something yeast, they're in my store. They're in my pantry.
Nobody says you don't have them.
Exactly, but what are you doing? I know you have plans for them.
When
just
you have
wait till the dentist, the doctor says, yes, you can go with it. And give you the...
Can we move on now?
Yes, we can.
Moving on.
Please speak gently so that let's treat it. Let's get healed on 100 first. Speak gently. Because Tolu is like an AK-47. So give it to us, Mama.
So that's why I was not picking
Here, Tolu, pronounce the word convalescence. Use it.
I know that word that they say when somebody is healing.
Yeah.
It's not me that's pronouncing it.
It's a terrible word.
It's a terrible word.
It's not like Tolu pronounce that word for me. Every time I see her, I'll make her pronounce it again.
Yes.
Acquiesce. You know, when we tell people that you should watch News Central, because we make effort. Even we
teach
on
you.
the seat,
Yes.
we're learning new words, how to pronounce them. So some people don't
worry.
care.
We'll come back to you tomorrow with that word and let you know how it's pronounced. Lola, don't trick me today.
Gang,
All
gang.
right? So, we have one more very important... Oh, Lord. Catherine, you caused this. We have one very important thing we must get to before we continue today's show.
Yeah.
I'm so fine, I know. They were petting me this week. Mr.
so-
Balogun, thank you anyway. Anyway, we want to say a very, 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 very incredibly big happy birthday to the one and only Kayode Akitemi, our managing director and CEO. Today is his 60th birthday.
Oh my God!
Can you just
60,
believe that?
I want to talk now, but he's the thing some people have told me. If you see him, if he's on your WhatsApp status,
Right now, Mr. Akitemi is probably in the gym.
Yes.
Drinking iron.
And motivating you, telling you to take,
exercise vicariously through him.
those steps, telling you to. It's a delight.
Just look at him.
He seems
Just
like a
look at
walk
him.
of
This
art. There should
60-year-old
just be a
boy.
statue.
What's that?
Boy.
Excuse me, respect yourself. That's my MD you're talking about.
MD is when a man 60 carries this kind of lithe body, he's shaming some of his stars with pot bellies.
This is an epitome. This is an epitome of GQ.
Yeah.
This is GQ.
Just give him a suit.
Should we go there? Mr. K, should we really go there?
I think you need to see Catherine's face while she wants to take us there.
Mr. K,
please go ahead.
should we?
Should we
I'm
go
all
there?
ears.
Should we
I hate
go
watching
there?
Mr. K's status.
You know-
Every day, higher, climb.
Mr. K,
I
no,
know
this is
scripture.
Lolo, this
He
is
that runneth
this is
not he
Nobody
that
chases
runneth.
him.
this is Mr. K's. This is him. On the
Bouncing.
that's him. On the treadmill. This is his status.
Yeah.
Mr. K, deny am I here? Mr. K, this is you on the. But you see, he motivates you every day. When you look at you, go say he reminds you of Kate. Kate, they should really.
They're in the
wonders.
same
I'm
WhatsApp
telling
WhatsApp
you,
group.
They will oppress you. Yes, we know that not everybody is talented. Not everybody has the grace to be gymming. People go to the gym to sit down, take pictures, and then.
Yeah, I show up their gym wear.
Thank you. If you know, you know. You know yourself. It's okay.
Yeah.
But Mr. K, if he doesn't get those steps in, like Magic said, 10,000 steps a day. How I
Will
want
not
to do it, I
just
don't
be
care. I'm
alright.
going to do it. Mr. K gets those steps.
A few months ago, I think he got injured.
Injured.
And
His
he couldn't,
shoulder.
and he was banned
He
from
was-
the gym. The man was not feeling okay. By the second or third day, MD was very unsettled. I have not been to the gym. I was just looking at this. Excuse me, they said stay out of the gym.
No, but you see, it's obvious. He's stoned mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
When you
He
see
does a
Mr. K
very-
walk, Mr. K is GQ in living
Yeah.
color. Let's not go there.
You know, it's a very
Should we do the walk?
yeah.
No.
But
Should we do the walk?
I actually think Mr. K, you know, he does a very high intense work, and I tell people that use their brains or their heads to work is more intense than using physical force to do something. You know, he has to write, he has to think, he has to put things together. You know, it can be something.
Yeah.
So I believe that the gym for him is like his, you know,
His release.
his peace center. A lot of people say exercising centers them. And I think he's one of those people, just like looking at a bowl of eba centers me. I don't have to eat it.
I didn't even see that.
How did we get
It's
from
not
one
like
to the
I have
other?
to eat it. But you know, when you promise me eba and any nice soup, the eba, everybody that wants to judge me, the eba I'll eat is like this, so but
the soup.
the thoughts, I'll be in my zen.
Like the granite soup. And I actually wanted to
Zen.
make. I don't have it.
I'll be totally zen.
So let's not go to ground. Listen, let's not go
So
to ground.
so on our company WhatsApp group, a lot has been going on, but they've started this trend of MD, Mr. K once said, guys, somebody make me understand. This must happen today. I get that a lot. I get that a lot. We're doing this together, bar none. And then what else? Why are we not streaming this? Gosh.
God.
So ladies, what has he said to us? Because he meets us sometimes either before or after Jasiri, and there's a lot.
Lolo, so what do you think about the show? What do you think we can do, you know, to make it better? You know, tell me. I want to hear. Once we sit in that chair, we know say, oh,
I hear a lot. Olu, I've been looking for you. And sometimes I'm like, no, stop looking for me.
It says, Catherine with the shoes. I said I died. I literally, I did not believe he took notice of it. He said, with the shoes, when you cross you don't know how to sit still, you must cross your legs. So I have been intentionally just sitting down demurely.
Right.
And the one the ladies don't want to hear, MD said he wants to see us.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Oh my God.
You can be
MD
sure
said he
we'll be there
wants to
for
hear
2
us.
hours.
MD says he wants to see you.
And the bad thing is that MD is so health conscious.
Yes.
But his office is not health compliant.
He said it's for us.
He has
That is not for
sugar.
us.
He's always giving us sweets, chocolate, biscuits.
Anything to
While
keep you
he
there.
eats granola under his table.
Yes.
Wicked.
Yes. Under his table.
Under his table.
Nobody sees it but
Chinchin
him.
is there.
But
Anything
there's
that you can
every
eat to
other-
make your life the opposite
But this
of
is the
well.
confession of the people who go to his office and they finish everything there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what
okay.
do we do? And he gives the greatest hugs.
No, the warmest hugs.
Oh, no, he gives the
yes,
warmest
he does.
Do you know? I won't
You
say.
don't say it. We need to go for a
yeah,
quick break here, but Mr. Kaide Akitami, we wish you all the very best
Yes.
in the 60th year of your
Oh la
time
la,
here on
it's,
Earth. We wish that as you want to achieve, as you want to aim high, all of those achievements and all of those high aims will come to be. And we're going to take a break from that.
Yeah.
So when we return after the break, we will dive deep into a conversation that cannot be ignored because it's eating deep into our society. Whether you like it or not, drug abuse isn't just headline news. It's affecting families, communities, and futures across Nigeria. So as we mark International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, we're also asking the difficult questions and examining what can be done to prevent the spread of this addiction. So joining us after the break is Dokun Adedeji, CEO, Compassionate Care Recovery Initiative. This conversation we will have after the break. Stay with us.
Breaking the chains, prevention, treatment, and recovery for all is the theme for this year's International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Today, we're not just focusing on the causes and symptoms, but we're also finding the path back. Recovery isn't just detoxing, it's rebuilding lives, healing communities, and tackling stigma. But what fuels addiction? And how can our country break the chain that seems to be holding our young people down? Our guest today is a man who has tirelessly worked in this space. Dr. Dokun Adedeji is the CEO of Compassionate Care Recovery Initiative, a non-governmental organization dedicated to rehabilitating drug addicts and supporting their families through recovery. Because it's not just the addict that has to recover, so does the family. Dr. Adedeji, welcome to Jasiri.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this.
I think some people will be shocked by the dimensions of this conversation because a lot of people don't understand really what's going on.
Yeah.
Mostly. Most people don't, and that's the tragic thing about it. And that's why I like what you're doing in trying to create awareness, bring it, stand in the face of people, let them understand where we're at. We're not in a good place.
You
We're
know,
not.
maybe because I've experienced addiction closely in my family, and I've seen alcohol addiction, I have seen drug addiction, cocaine in particular, and I know how it impacted the entire family and the cost of it. You know, that's why I want us to lay a foundation about this discussion, Dr. Adedeji. What is the real reason why Nigerians are falling into drug use these days? Because it's a lot. A lot of people, except it's close to you, you might not know how enormous the pandemic of drug use is, except you are seeing it real life. Many people will say, is it pressure? Some will say, oh, it's friends pressuring themselves into doing stuff. Poverty. Oh, the country is so difficult. Mental health. I'm unstable in my mind. I'm not happy. I'm depressed. Or other things. What exactly would we say is making drug addiction in Nigeria to be at this scale?
You see, you mentioned quite a number of things. There's a plethora of issues. There's no single issue failing it. What we're saying is each individual that you get to see has his own reason for going to drugs. So it's like a multi-sectoral thing. But the important thing is that is now, I think, is failing it. Family dysfunction is a major issue. And the pervasiveness of availability. It's everywhere. There's no street you get to, you know. You see, and I like the fact you said, you know, when people talk about substance abuse or drug abuse, they don't talk about alcohol.
Yes.
Alcohol is a major source of addiction. And, you know, when the UNO did the statistics in 2017, they didn't mention alcohol. They mentioned other things. But if alcohol is mentioned, almost the whole world will be classified as being involved, because I know alcohol is one thing. It's easy to get into and very difficult to stop. Because even if you take them to rehab and they decide to stop, when they come out, when there's a birthday, when there's a ceremony, you serve alcohol. So the trigger is always there. I think for Nigeria, one of the things primarily failing is ignorance or denial. There's a sense of denial that is painful. Everybody thinks that the next person's child is a motor park thing. It isn't. It isn't. There's no sector of economy that is not involved. Doctors, nurses, pilots, whoever. So we can't close our eyes to it. I know the thing that also bothers me is the way we translate it to youth. Oh, these young people, it's not really true.
And that's one of the questions I actually have further down, because it seems that drug abuse wears a young face.
Yeah.
When it's not actually necessarily the case.
It isn't. It isn't. You see, the thing is, when the survey was done in 2017, it was done between the ages 15 and 64. But I can tell you for free that I've seen 8. Somebody 8-year-old. I went to a particular town, they called me to come and help them start a center. They brought to me 4 young boys, age 10, who were already on marijuana.
All right, so, I mean, we're talking about data here and research. There seems to be a little bit of difference in the whys between the North and the South. I was resisting the urge to ask you what part of the country this happened. But my question now would be, are we dealing with a social crisis, mental health crisis, or it's a public health crisis, or it's a melange of both?
Melange. But the way to address it is public health issue. In the sense that, I say this because it's easy for you to own up that my uncle has diabetes, my uncle has hypertension, but nobody wants to say my son has a drug problem. And so today we're beginning to see that it's better, because it's a mental issue. It's a chronic mental and progressive condition that propels the man to go into drugs and keeps him in drug. So if you treat him, there could be element of relapse, not a problem, which is also happening in other conditions. But the things we must begin to worry about, empathy, not sympathy, and ability to love without discrimination. Don't say because my son had used it, you discriminate against it, which you mentioned as a stigma and discrimination. Those are some factors we need to kill if we want to help. I mean, I said to institutions, I wrote to the VCs of private institutions, that don't send these people away, don't expel them. You can rusticate them for a time for them to go look for help. They get better. If they are clear, they can come back. I've seen a lot of people who came to us who graduated, who are doctors, who are nurses today.
To school.
Well, they went back to school upon clearance. The school took them back and they graduated.
Now that there's hope.
Counts.
Because when you rusticate, it then almost
You
becomes
destroy
like
them.
a hopeless situation.
You know what that does? It drives it under the radar. Then everybody begins to say, if they catch you. So they will know when to use it. They know what to do. Let me give you some facts as well. Some students have come to understand something. When they're going to be tested, somebody takes them to take their urine. So they give money to the person.
Somebody else.
Give me your urine.
Which is clean.
Which is clean.
Hopefully.
And then you test it is clean. And then you say, oh, he's not using it. And so what happens is, you see, there was a particular student that said to me that in the school, a Christian university, they know the agent that they use to test. So the agent they use does not catch a particular synthetic marijuana. So everybody was using it. And so when they test them, they're negative. Yeah. And you see, so we must change our approach.
Okay, so just before we started on it, I was telling you about a recent article that I read, and I have found it, and I'm so reluctant to talk about, because there's also a way we have to be careful in having the conversation. But I won't mention the name of it. But in the southern parts of the continent now, Lesotho, there is a situation in which young people are.
You just need to say it.
I have to say,
Yeah.
the young people are getting high from the blood of somebody else who's high.
How
So
did they do
someone
that?
who is high on drugs shares their blood with
How?
others so they can feel the same high. I don't want to know
I think the question-
mechanics of it.
Yeah, the
so
mechanics
I don't want
of
to know
it.
the mechanics.
How
But
does
for
this
me, the
work?
question, this leads me to asking, how has the face of drug abuse changed over the years in which you have been working in this? And you said you've been working in addiction and drug abuse for about 30 years now.
Absolutely. You know, when we started, the people we used to see were older people, people from motor parks and things like that. But then over the years, it began to shift. You were seeing undergraduates, you were seeing educated people, professionals, and all the rest of it. And the one that is frightening now is the age of use. The age of use is coming down.
How?
As young as 8.
But how or why? Does this link back to the accessibility issue that you're
Absolutely.
mentioning?
Look, the thing is everywhere. And you know, I want to be also careful in mentioning it. I won't mention the brands.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, those
The sachet.
the sachet drinks. So I was very delighted when the
they were going to
Band it.
ban
But
it.
now they've
Calm
walked
down.
back on it a bit.
because people, you see, let me tell you
We're
something.
putting money over lives.
It
Yeah.
tells you the ignorance that I'm sorry to say the people in National Assembly didn't even have an understanding of what the woman was saying.
Yeah.
The woman didn't say ban alcohol. She said ban the sachet, which makes it available to young people
Yes.
and is
Yes.
everywhere on the street.
Yes.
There's some that they call beaters. Go check them.
A lot of them have
Oh,
alcoholic
they have all
42%.
sorts of things inside.
42% alcohol. There's one particular one that a young girl took. I don't know. I don't want to mention the name as well. I don't want, look, she was rolling on the floor half naked. And many of them, they don't know these things. You know, so it's important that we highlight these things and also the glamour
Yes.
on TV.
Yeah, on social
Glamorizing
Social media,
the use of
all
some of
these
this.
artists. So they make the young people say to myself, if he can use it and he's
cool.
doing well, why can't I?
Why can't I?
So it's a lot of, you know, I beg the media, I think the media should, like the BBC, all this, go to the joints where they sell this. They'll talk to you if you cover their faces. And then see how bad this is. And we feature it. You know, there was a time, I think it was Lola Fanikade Williams, Fanikade, she did a documentary called Mind Bending.
Mind Bending was a series,
It
like
was
a drama
fantastic.
series.
Oh, yes. If you can get things like that and it runs, and young people, you know, they're captivated by visuals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if we can get this in their face and begin to, you see, the important, you can't stop people from taking drugs,
Yeah.
but they can make informed choices.
And you can reduce their access to
The
it.
access.
Upstairs.
You know, on this,
If you know, if you read something that NDLA does, every Sunday
Yes,
they
they leak.
interdict, they catch people.
Yeah.
So I asked General Marwa, I said, General, with all this interdiction, people are caught, why do people carry this? He said, it's greed. So if our moral tone is also not improved upon about
Yes.
value system,
Yeah.
it will continue.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a gentleman in VGC whose whole house
Was that
the
meth lab.
reservoir for tramadol.
yes.
And also was manufacturing methyl crystal.
Yes, and the whole he was infected. The whole, that's the water in the neighborhood. That's the air in the
And
neighborhood.
this-
That's an explosion waiting to happen
Yeah.
in Lekki.
And this is VGC. And I tell people there is no estate that is clean.
Yes, none.
So I was telling the ladies about earlier this year. I went to pick up my daughter. She's 10, and we were coming out of school. And we saw this young boy. He was
Gone.
Dazed.
Yeah.
And I did not expect it in the heart of Surulere, a residential area close to a school.
Oh.
He could not be 18 if he was a day over 15. And it sparked a conversation because everybody was looking and we were like, okay, what's everybody looking at? And so I was trying to scare her. I was trying to have this, it ruins your plan, it ruins your future. You can't do this, you can't do this, talk about peer pressure. And it just feels like we don't realize how here
It
It
is.
it
is.
is now.
Yeah.
It is here in front of all of
So
us.
no matter how we try to close our eyes to it,
You will
can't.
see.
That's the reality.
It is the reality.
But now that we're talking about the prevalence of these drugs, is it not the polity you still have to blame? Because every time they keep telling me that, oh, these things are illegal, but they still find their way into the country. Fentanyl, people are saying how dangerous
Extremely
it
dangerous.
is to
And we're
mix
seeing the opioid
with some
crisis
other-
abroad.
And we've seen the opium crisis abroad. Would you not say it is the elite society that is, because I don't think
Some of these
any-
drugs are not cheap.
Yes, they are not cheap. That's what I'm saying.
You see, they're not. But there's a camera there that comes on. When you get to the joint, if you don't have money, someone will feed you. Because someone comes with a large sum of money. Some of these big people, their sons, come with a large sum. So he said, give to my friends. So it's a kind of, that's the collective that they can share. It's a community. And so the community of friends, and then they share. You see, the thing is, if we point, government or something, we're deceiving ourselves. The
It's really
earliest
some of
community is the family.
Yeah, and I was going to say
Because
that
of the 8-year-olds he meant.
Yes.
Where are they getting it from? Where
Yeah.
do the parents are coming from?
We're shining light on the youth, but look at adulting. I was looking at it as he was talking. I said, this is such a ripple effect thing. Because as you're speaking, I'm saying that a family, you say, okay, my friends have come. The children are observing you. Let's all of us be happy. The child observes that once they take this thing, everyone is happy. Everyone seems to
Jolly.
be like,
Jolly,
and
yeah.
then before you know it, the parent goes away and the child goes and
Look,
takes it. And before,
Dr. Adede, before you answer that, let's go on a quick break
Okay.
because she's talking about the family, and then we also want to talk about trauma.
Yeah.
Nigerians are traumatized people. So it's almost like we are a drug addiction crisis that has been waiting
to
to
happen.
happen. But we'll pick up on these pieces of the conversation in just a bit. And of course, it will continue. This is Jasiri. Stay with us.
Welcome back, and we have been having conversation that is focused on drug abuse and how it is ravaging communities across Nigeria. While the world is actually commemorating International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, we are focusing on how Nigeria can address the drug crisis. But before we get into this next question that brought us back from the break, I want to ask this about trauma. Many of us in Nigeria, we are all walking trauma ports. Many grow into trauma. Many of the young people grow into traumatized adults who battle demons and carry trauma into relationships, family life, their work life, their career. Everything is so intertwined. I want to know, how does untreated trauma, maybe either from violence, honestly, the things that some people have seen in this life, you would say they have justifiable reason to do that. Abuse is another big issue. Academic pressure. Oh, you have to be this, you have to be that. Push young people into substance use as a coping mechanism.
And at this point, let's not even say young people. Push people.
Push people generally into drug use.
You're right, absolutely. But each person has a threshold for whatever trauma. Some people can deal with it, some can't deal with it. They need help to deal with it. But you see, the help they need is more of emotional and psychological. And most times those things are absent. Let me give you an example. Parents don't know how instrumental they are to the causation of the things we're talking about. I'm not blaming parents, but I'm saying, I said to people, you want to have a child, have a child. If you don't want to marry, don't marry for this. You can't say because you have children and then you leave your kids and they care of people and then you walk away from it. Many of these kids, they tell me, they said, look, the only time I see my parents is when I have an issue. And when I have, you just say, what is the problem? I pay your school fees and that's it. Many of the things you do for them, give them cars, take them for summer, they don't need those things, they need you. When I talk to her, you know what they said? They said, would you like to come back and talk to us? Young people, how can we beg our parents to talk to us? And what you said something about, okay, a man comes in and says, oh, Jide, I went to my friends, you know that your friend, the boy was filling his jam for, he filled medicine. Indirectly, what are you saying to your boy? Your friend is reading medicine, why do you want to read a Greek?
Any other thing.
And then so many of the students go to school to read what they're not prepared for.
Yes.
And so the pressure
frustration
comes.
sets in.
And they can't do well. And then somebody says, oh, why are you feeling like this? Why don't you take this to make you feel good? And
or to
that's
keep
it.
you awake.
Yeah.
Yes. A young girl said to me, she started taking alcohol at 12. Then she met an undergraduate online, 13. Oh no, an undergraduate. So the boy said they were chatting. So the girl said, oh, when my mom shouts, she shouts too much. And when I get annoyed, I just drink alcohol. So the boy said alcohol does not have enough effect. that in 30 minutes, the effect of alcohol will be gone. I'll show you something that you need. So next day, which was a Monday, in the church premises in Yaba, I introduced this girl to cocaine.
Hey.
And the girl at 13 began to take cocaine.
No.
I'm telling you. And the parents were not any wiser.
You shared a story with us about a cake that was being baked.
Yeah.
This is why we're going to stop eating at other people's homes.
Oh, you have to stop. You have to be careful where you eat. No food or drink is innocent. I must say that to you. I say to young people, don't go to the party of a friend of a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
Somebody you don't know closely, be careful. Look, at the parties, they give you scoochies. And scoochie is prepared,
Oh my God, Daddy. I said Daddy.
It's I understand.
I would not lie to you. I saw them mix up something.
Yeah.
It was online. It wasn't like I was watching a secret video.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
That
They didn't
not
put.
pour
They
inside.
did not put all sorts of bitters, all sorts of
Yeah, you
this,
see-
all sorts of that, all sorts of tablets.
And
They
then-
were popping tablets into the thing, and somebody was stirring it, and they were making it of this sweet.
No, they'll make it
tasting-
sweet
Yeah,
and then they'll put ice in it.
Oh God.
So it tastes nice and everything.
By the time you're doing
and
2,
then they
3
say,
cups.
oh, you just swing off.
Rape, all
Of
sorts of
course,
things
I
happen.
mean, there's one particular drug, Refnol. They call it date rape drug.
the roofie, yeah,
I
the
said
date-
to girls, when you go to parties, don't let a boy open your drink for you.
Yeah.
Or bring a drink to
Or
you.
bring a drink. If you open your drink yourself, you go to dance. If you don't carry your
cannot
drink with
drink
you,
that drink
don't
again.
take it
Drink it
again.
again.
Look, a time has come in which we need to be very protective of self and then be very careful.
So I want us to go into the consequences of drug abuse in the abuser's life. Captain was shocked at the statistic you just saw on screen. I think we might need to
On
bring it
women.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you-
About 25% of women.
1 in 4 drug abusers
one
in
in
Nigeria is a
4.
woman.
25%
Yes,
of
1
drug
in
abuse
4.
Nigeria.
1 in 4.
You know,
Over 4.6 million Nigerians have a drug
Let me give you a
abuse
significance
disorder.
before you just
Yes.
go on. You know, 14.4% is Nigerian prevalence rate. That translates to about 14 to 15 million Nigerians.
Yes.
Let me now give you the significance of those figures. The population of Liberia is 5 million. The population of Mauritania is 4 million. Guinea-Bissau is 2 million. The Gambia is 2. The totality of those 4 countries is 13
And that's still less than the amount of Nigerians
who use
involved in
drugs.
drugs.
So the people who use drugs, they can make a country.
Country.
Look, if you don't look at those things like that, we get careless. And you said something, in Nigeria, until it becomes a personal issue.
But the funny thing is, it's already probably a personal issue for
They
a
keep
lot
it.
of elites. They keep it.
They keep it and
They
hide
send
it.
their children abroad. They take them to the few private rehabilitation
Yes.
centers and
Yeah.
they hide it,
Yeah,
not
they hide
understanding that it's a national issue.
You know what I say to them? What I said to them, what Professor Ransom Kuti did during HIV/AIDS. He came out and said, my brother died from the complications of HIV/AIDS. And that took away
A bit of the stigma.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so everybody said, oh. And people began to own up to it.
Yeah, and come
If
out.
we don't own up to this and we have people who come out to say, look, my son had it, but this is he today.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at Biden, his son, Hunter.
Yes, Hunter.
Hunter was in cocaine for 20 years.
Wow.
But he wrote a book called Beautiful Things that I tell parents to get to read, to show you the attitude that parents must begin to have, the attitude of empathy and willingness to help.
It's not cultural to us.
No,
because you
no.
know that when
You
children
see-
disgrace us,
Yes.
we disown.
That's
Yeah.
what we say.
don't, we
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
accept anything that can make us
But
or
you know,
the family look
you know
bad.
when you do that, you're sending them into the crowd.
But we don't care
so let's
about
talk
that
about
as a
that.
people.
Yeah.
What is the consequences of drug abuse in an abuser's life? And then also for those who love them. Because we're talking about people who will break into their family homes. They will steal things.
Yeah.
They will sell things. They will sell themselves.
You
They
don't-
sell their blood.
It's terrible.
Go to hospital, donate blood, they get money,
I
then
had a
go back to
cousin,
drugs.
when we see him on the road, I will not lie to you, my sister and I, we hid in the gutter. Because once he sees you, he's going to start crying and he will follow you home.
But you know what I want all of us to know is this. Nobody wakes up
And wants
to
to be
say,
an
I
addict.
want to be an addict.
Yeah.
So we must know there's a
Sneaks up on
propulsion.
Yeah.
And so the thing to do is, what is the definition of love if it's not shown? Look, we all have done, I know it is difficult. Look, for us who even take care of them, it's extremely difficult. It's exasperating. Some relapse and come out. But you know that I've seen people who relapse who today, they're great advocates for this and they're doing very well. I've seen doctors, I've seen pilots, I've seen nurses, I've seen accountants.
Yeah.
And I mean,
You know, Dr. Adedeji, do you know that a lot of people do not even believe
Yeah.
that professionals abuse drugs?
everyone does.
In fact, I was going to ask you, so what are the misconceptions? Because these are part of it.
Yeah,
right?
misconceptions.
Misconceptions surrounding drug abuse, drug addiction, and
There-
who gets it. Like, it's almost as if it's contagious. Who gets it and
No,
who
it's
doesn't
not.
get it?
You see-
And then because some of these perceptions make it difficult for the abuse, for the drug.
That I think is a connection with what you said. Why people don't seek treatment? They
Yes.
want to get help, but they say, "How do I tell my parents? Where do I go to? And what happens to me after?" For instance, students who get rusticated, the universities I get, some of the universities that I worked with are getting used to it, so they don't
The
stigma.
universities are getting used to it.
No, I mean in the rehabilitation, some of them have
have
sent
to.
students to us and they've gotten back well and they've seen them,
yeah.
and so they're willing to help them.
Okay.
You see, there must be a willingness to help. And look, if you see them when in their low moment, they will weep, they will cry, they want to stop, but it's a vicious cycle. We must help them to break it.
What are the triggers? I don't know whether it's part of the. I think we're just.
They're so.
Yeah.
I already told him before. This is not a one episode conversation.
If it's
It
about
cannot be.
this, just wake me up, I'll be here.
Because they're
Honestly,
struggling.
I have good
So
pimples from just even talking about a lot of people. We need to keep sounding this like at the top of our voices, because when he said the age of addiction is getting lower.
Younger.
Have you seen some of those boys that we call Osanle on the road?
Yeah.
Some of them, I want to give them money. Their eyes are already bloodshot. Instead,
Look.
I will take food,
And
take
give
a
them.
spoon so they know I didn't do anything from it, and give them food. Because when we give them money,
They
they are
won't-
not helping.
It goes
They
up in
won't
the
spend
high.
their money.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is, when they can take something like gum, a Vostec, methylated spirit, soak away fumes for pit latrine. So, you know, it's extremely demeaning. But you see, that is the extent we have gotten to. But you know, the good thing that Jeremiah has done that is really helping this fight, he has destigmatized it, and he also has removed the element of punitiveness, punishment. You know, the very thing we want to do is judgmental. We punish his lack of free will, he can't stand, he's a weak person. It's not true.
Let's take a break, because there's actually a question around the conversation around criminalization of drug abuse versus drug abuse being a mental health issue because of addiction. And I'd like us to really focus on that. We'll take a quick time out, and when we come back, we pick up on the conversation. This is Jasiri on what is probably a very difficult conversation for many people to sit with, but it's one that we must have, addressing Nigeria's drug abuse crisis. Dr. Dokun Adedeji is with us, and in all of this, I think we also need to share stories that I don't want shock as just a sensationalist tool, but shock as in wake up.
Yeah.
We have an issue, especially with how addicts are successful at times at hiding their addictions to a point that it becomes uncontrollable. And then they disassociate from family, they're on their own, they leave, one Sunday or whatever you want to say. What are some of the stories in the years you've worked in this sector that have stuck out to you about how addicts have managed to hide their addiction?
You can imagine a child, it doesn't go out. And you say, my child does not go out. It doesn't mean. They order it. You know, when you see all these dispatch riders coming too frequently, you need to be very careful. It's not only food or items they bring. So you need to be careful. And you know what? They can be at home as long as they know what to do. And the quantity to take at home, and then what to do, they take it, they stay in their room, they sleep. And then they eat. But if parents are very observant, they will know from the moment something starts.
Something has changed.
That something has changed. When he sleeps too much, he begins to eat too much, and then he tells you not to worry, and you begin to see a change or pattern in the way he speaks, in the way he dresses, and the things he does. They get hidden, not because they're hidden, they're right in our faces, but it's because we're careless as the people. And the way I test people, I say, when I go to that, I say, look, if I leave this place and I come back, I ask you what color of shirt I wore, many people will not know because we're just not observant.
Yeah.
And so, but women are better in this thing. They understand, they see much earlier than the father. And so that's how they know. They say, this boy, something is happening, and they raise it. But fathers know it's just been, it's not true. So we must, as a family, work together to understand. These children, sometimes when they do things, is an attempt to say, look, I have an issue. When they take drugs, not because they want
escaping.
to be... Yeah, they're escaping. And then they say, look, I have an issue. Look at me. And so if they then say that, you know, we're not so close to them to chat with them. Some people say to me, oh, he's a small child. It's not true. And then you wait till in their teenage years, you've lost connection. One of the things I say to people, it doesn't work for everybody. When you have it, why don't you keep your child in a school close to your house you can take and bring? Why school bus? I mean, you know, it comes to your particular values.
10, 15 minutes.
Yes. But parents say, I'm busy. And then you let a house, look, one housemaid dissolved tramadol in water and called the kids and said, if you can take it, I'll give you 100 naira. So what do you want the kids to do? And that's your housemaid. And then so, you see, where I like what you're doing is, everybody must wake up.
They must see you.
Everybody must see and say, this is, and own it. We must own this fight as individuals. So what do I do? What do I do in my church? What do I do in my mosque? What do I do in my society?
In my spaces.
In your spaces. You said something. A father drinks. You say, my son, drinking is bad. I just says to you, excuse me, but you are doing it. And you see, they say what you do, they don't hear what you say. I mean, a mother brought her 2 kids to me, sons. They were in university, Christian university. They hadn't been caught. So I spoke to them. So she said they should go to the car. She then said to the doctor, but my challenge is their father smokes marijuana. I said, you should have told me. So the
conversation would have been different.
So the boys will look at this stupid old man.
With this guy?
My father takes it, nothing has happened. You know, the other problem we must clarify is this. Never tell people that when they take marijuana, they will go mad. Or you tell them if you take Android, you'll be crazy. It's not true. It's not really true. Some do, some don't. That's why you see some people take marijuana. They can be in their 40s.
There are many functional addicts.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what happens is, but what you would not know or they will not associate the marijuana with is forgetfulness, lack of motivation, carelessness, and all those. They will not link it, but they were waiting for something.
Going mad.
Right. And they don't.
Dr. Adedeji, let's talk about that criminalization part of the conversation.
Yeah.
We still have so many questions we can't take, and he's going to come back. But there's a large conversation happening around criminalization of drug use versus drug abuse being a mental health issue because of addiction. And I know somebody out there is going to say, why would we not want to punish those who abuse drugs versus this almost like a kumbaya, open our arms, be empathetic conversation? So do we have to change the conversation? Can the two not coexist? Whether not punitive, but consequential of the drug use, but also empathetic of the individual.
You see, I must credit General Marwa for something. You know why the guy has been successful? When he was made the chairman of PASIDA, he went around the country and talked to a lot of stakeholders. I spoke with him. He saw the experience of the things that I had done. And he managed all those. That's why he's changed the face of NDLEA. You know, before NDLEA was catch you, send you to jail. He found that users should not be punished. That is double jeopardy. The person is using, and then you are punishing him. The thing to do, punish the barons. Punish those who sell. Punish those who... That is the way we should segment it. But when it comes to this, look, okay, a student goes to a party, he takes it in a drink, he takes it in his friend's food, beans, or whatever. And then you now test him, he tests positive. And because of that, you rusticate him one time.
Yes, so
what's going to happen to a 19-year-old in final year who's rusticated?
How many rehabilitation centers do we have?
In Nigeria.
Because if you're talking about not punishing the drug user, but rehabilitating, where are you sending them?
No, you see, the way to start is we do all these things together. We can't, you know, I don't like the silo thing that we do in Nigeria. As you're doing, if we begin to raise the awareness everywhere, in schools everywhere, and then people make it, it will deter some. And you show them examples of the things that don't do, and you bring people who had been in it, who are clean, and speak to them. Look, don't go through what I went through.
But Dr. Dideji, this was prevalent some years ago.
I don't know what changed in the messaging.
That is the problem I have with Nigeria and these Toulouse agencies she's not heading.
Yes, I can tell
because
you.
these are things they need to be at the forefront
Yes,
of. The
people's
National
faces.
Orientation
Yes.
Agency. They say it in Yoruba, say it in Hausa, say it in
Every
Look,
Duke all
Look,
sorts of
I
things.
have said to myself, I look at the NOA and they begin to do all sorts of finding the Naira. Excuse me, how many people can spray Naira? It's you people that have money. But this is an issue that's, even some of them speaking, their kids are in it.
Yeah.
If the NOA does not change its message, look, the moral tone of this country is torn.
It's torn.
No value system. And there are no role models for these young people.
Yeah.
You blame them, you call them, you say, who's your role model? He looks.
Yeah.
Just mention music artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if you say Wole Soyinka is coming to talk in a campus, the hall will not be filled up.
Of course.
But tell them one of these singers is coming. The whole place will be filled up. Because that is what they see.
You know, I told the ladies when I was growing up, there was a huge crisis in the U.S. And so there was a dog that used to wear a hat, and the campaign was just say no. And so every school was mandated to play this messaging at least twice a week. And then they brought ex-addicts to us. They even brought people in the midst of recovery. If they tell you what recovery feels like. Some people have never experienced it. Labor pain is one thing, we've all had it. Recovery.
Particularly if you use the cold turkey system.
And that's just no
Yeah.
help,
No help.
no assistance,
Yes.
and
So-
you want to drain it from your body.
So when you do that and you help them in the early stages to give supportive management and do the cold turkey, the pain, and then it reminds them that I don't want to do this again. But if you begin to help them, give them a bit of drugs to read, and then it's an issue. You see, we need to do a lot of work.
No, we need to do a lot.
We need
And
to do a lot of work.
I would have liked to ask you about the road to recovery because what to
Oh, okay.
said,
No,
but I
don't rush. You're coming back.
We can't have this
That's why I
conversation
paused
just
on the
once.
I paused on the question. I stood because I would like to know because when we talk about the cold turkey method or you start initially, it cannot be easy, that journey. And once you get on it and started to come back, when you think about the recovery process again, that process, you don't want to do it.
And then the link between drug abuse and even crime. Okay, they're in our ear that we have to
we
go.
need to go.
Dr. Adedeji, you're coming back.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr.
My
Adedeji,
pleasure.
for being
My
a guest.
pleasure.
Honestly.
Thank you
Guys,
very much.
the conversation is not over yet. Drug abuse is not just about substances. It's about the silence, the stigma, and the systems that fail far too many Nigerians. Behind every statistic is a story, a young person searching for relief, a family torn apart, a community struggling to respond. And while it's easy to point fingers, real change begins with real conversations like the one we've had today. So until next time, please be informed, be compassionate, and for God's sake, be part of the solution. Until tomorrow.
We'll see you again. All right, bye for now.